It's so funny, Lindsay. I did a podcast with another lady and Jennifer, and I was getting her information. She was a winner. She was on Battle of the Burbs, and we were talking about why she moved from one location to the next. And she goes, Dana, is there any way we could talk about Rare Disease Day? And I go, sure, come on my podcast. So I had her on my podcast. Her son is so precious. He's got kind of a mixture of Downs and autism. And so we were
Okay.
talking about all the effort she would put into driving the kids to school and him to his places. And it was just an amazing story. And then
Oh,
you call in
that
and
is
you
so
win. And you're like, oh, my daughter Kaylee wanted Blake Shelton tickets so badly. And then you're like, and she's a gold medal winner for her artwork. I'm going, wait a minute. And then you go, and you know my husband, Clint. I'm going, was Clint the cowboy at my son's rehearsal dinner all those years
Yes.
ago? Isn't that crazy how life works?
Absolutely. It was we have been trying to, or I think during Christmas, Kaitlyn would call in, we would be listening to those like certain songs, and she's like, we gotta call in, and try to win. And then she was going on about like going down to Rodeo Houston and really wanting to see Blake Shelton. And I was like, Kaitlyn, I heard on the radio that they're starting to open up, contests to win. Let's try it tomorrow morning. So we were so blessed that we were able to win. And the fact that, yeah, we've met before and met your son, and I told you I will always remember him because the fact that he plays hockey and me being Canadian, you don't hear that very often. It's so rare to come across someone that has played hockey down in Texas.
I mean, it was like 10 years ago. Their rehearsal
Yes.
dinner. I love the rodeo. I met your husband, Clint. Like, you got to be the cowboy at Bobby's rehearsal dinner because I control their life, obviously. He lassoed them, and Sarah looks just like you. And he gives the cowboy
Oh,
prayer. I mean, does Kaitlyn know? Do your kids know, like your dad with Bobby and the lady on the
oh,
radio?
yes. Oh, yeah. It's so fun. Oh my goodness. And he's, now he's retired, thank goodness.
Yes, yes.
We had several injuries, so now he's, turned his world into, he used to work for his brother and his dad.
Right.
He has a landscape and construction company, and then a couple years ago, one of his friends who has a horseback riding business out in Fredericksburg was like, Clint, right outside of Houston, you have this 300 acres that you ride on. Why don't you start a horseback riding business? So we're so thankful that he's no longer in the rodeo arena, but he's still, incorporating horseback rides out in the country. So
I love that.
slower pace of life, which is nice.
I put my mom on a horse. She's 87 years old. Once a week, she gets her
Wow.
horse ride. Yep, because it just clears her mind. And she's like, she
Yes.
cries after. She goes, I just want to stay here. And I say, I know, mom,
Oh,
but we
I
have to go
love,
home now.
yeah. We can't live here.
Yeah. So now
Oh, I
Clint
love
was
that.
he's a bareback rider champion. Your
Correct.
daughter is a champion drawer that draws pictures of cowboys. And as I was
Yes.
listening to the news report, 10 years apart, they both win at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. Clint actually wanted to be an artist more than a bareback
Mhm.
rider, and yet your daughter wins.
Yes, exactly. Well, I think growing up, so he didn't really rodeo while he was growing up. And
Right.
so, in all the school districts around Texas, they compete for this rodeo art. And he tried so hard every year to make it to Houston and
Oh,
never was successful. So he is, so proud of her, and we all are. She's a really great artist. Clint is as well. But she really kind of takes the cake. She just sits and she does all of it by herself. There's really not a whole lot of guidance. She like watches YouTube videos and tries to perfect things. And we were surprised last year when she won because she goes against fourth and fifth graders in the entire district.
yeah.
So they choose, I think the school chooses their top 10, and then the district chooses their top 10 out of all the elementary kids. And then they get sent to Houston, and Houston only chooses one gold medal and one best of show. In both
Man.
years, she's gotten that gold medal. So
That
yeah, it's
the thing that
phenomenal.
I loved is that, and I don't know if it was when she was a little girl, my grandpa used to draw with me. He was an artist as well. And it was like the most precious time. So Clint would draw with her and kind of
Absolutely.
work
Oh, yeah.
together. What a great father-daughter thing to do.
Oh, they do. I mean, her and him are really two peas in a pod. Anything that he does, she is wanting to absorb. His horseback riding business, Kaitlyn is one of the top ranch girl. She helps him, guide rides out there. She's out there, 6 o'clock in the morning, feeding the horses, saddling them, so they are really two peas in a pod. It's really sweet.
That is awesome. Now, is she entering again this year, or has she entered, or what do they do?
So for the rodeo art,
Yes.
yes, she won. She won again this year. So last year she won that gold medal, and then she entered again this year with her picture. And she called it the Road to Houston because in the background there's a silhouette of Houston, and then you've got the dirt with a bucking horse. And if you look closely at it, it's a girl on a bucking horse. So she's got her blonde ponytail and her hat in her hand. So she incorporated kind of dad's old lifestyle with her. And yeah, she won it again this year. So thankfully with the tickets that we got to go to Blake Shelton, we're going to be going down and checking it out and going looking at her art and then staying for the concert and the rodeo.
That is amazing. I love that. Now, Dad's no longer bareback riding. He's doing this business now.
Absolutely. Thank goodness. It's much safer and
Yeah.
it's phenomenal, for people that come from out of town or even from all over the world, when they come to Texas, they really want that true like Wild West experience or that to get on a horse. So he offers that horseback ride and it's about a 2-hour ordeal, and they go down through this creek and they walk down the creek. They go through a beautiful like pecan orchard and down through some pine trees. I mean, just this morning he was saying, oh, it was so gorgeous. There was deer and there was armadillos and there was a hawk. And, so you really get, even though you're just, probably 40 minutes from downtown Houston, it really feels like you're in a different world.
Now you're Waller, right?
Waller. Yeah.
Okay. What is the name of his company? So people, I mean, do you offer rides all year long? How does it work?
Yep. We offer rides all year round. So it's called Cowboy Country Life. And so we have 2 locations, actually. We have the Waller location, and then also he's now doing horseback rides at Lake Somerville. And it's either like a 2-hour ride. You can do a half-day ride. You can do a full-day ride where he provides lunch. And then there's also going to be overnight trips as well. So you ride out to this like remote campsite, you camp, and he cooks dinner and stuff like that. And then the next morning there's breakfast, and then you pack out and you ride on back to your place.
I love it. Now you mentioned that you're from Canada. I just heard the out. How did you meet?
Out.
Yes. How did you meet your Texas cowboy?
Oh my goodness. So I was living in Calgary, Alberta, which I don't know if a lot of Texans know this, but Calgary and really Alberta is considered kind of mini Texas.
Yes.
It's the cowboy, capital of Canada. And you've also got the oil and gas industry there. So I was living out there working as a speech therapist. And funny enough, I made a girlfriend of mine come to this country bar. And I was like, you got to come. There's all these people that do this fun dance. I guess it's called two-stepping. That was foreign to me. And I see him looking over at me, but he's not coming over to talk. And so we were about to go walk to the bathroom. And all I hear is, you girls ain't leaving, are y'all? And I spin around and I said, oh my goodness, you are not from around here. Where are you from? And we get to talking and having a good time. And the next day I went to the rodeo, and truthfully, I did not know it was a sport. I was so, I don't know, just like not well versed in the rodeo industry at all. I really thought it was local ranchers that just came out and gave it a go. I had no idea there's actually like a technique to it and you win money. So he really had to teach me the ropes. And so we went out and watched him the next day, and he did well. And then we went and hung out afterwards. And that whole week we were kind of inseparable. And then we exchanged phone numbers and contacts, and he had to go back to the US. And I was actually flying with my cousin to go to Europe for 6 weeks. And I would just get these like calling cards and call him in these small little remote places. And it would just so happen that he had gotten in the car after a rodeo and he was driving to a hotel or driving to another place. And he said, I'd love to see you again. Would you want to come down and visit in Texas? And I only had 4 days between the time I came back from Europe to the time I started back at work. So I flew down. And it actually, like, to me, there's like little signs that that showed that, this was going in the right direction, because I only have one family member in the entire United States, and she lives in Katy, Texas. And it was so crazy. So when I came down, I was like, you know what? In the event that things go awry, I have my family right here. And I hadn't seen my cousin in years because she, lives in Texas and we just never came down very often. So I felt like the stars had kind of aligned and everything kind of clicked. And within 6 months, we were engaged and looking at how can I, move down to the US and work here. But I definitely had a tough time. Moving from Canada to Texas was a lot of stress. The second week I moved here, I got shingles because I was so stressed.
Oh
It was
no.
100 degrees, like I moved down in the summertime, which everyone knows the summer here is
Not to do.
miserable.
Right.
It's not fun. So it was so hot and everything is poisonous. There's snakes and there's spiders and there's critters everywhere. So I had a tough time with that. But over the years, I mean, the people here are so phenomenal. We honestly, we've talked about moving to different states, but it's hard. Texas really has our heartstrings. So we love it
That
now.
is excellent. Excellent. 3 kids later, you're still in Texas, and
Yep.
I just love your story. It's amazing. And the fact
Oh.
that Clint went with this crazy radio woman to go to her son's rehearsal dinner, all because we wanted a real cowboy.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And I love that we've met before too. It's just so sweet. You've got such a wonderful family. And to hear that, your son and your daughter-in-law, we were just getting married and now you have grandbabies too,
Yes,
that
yes.
also are little hockey players or on the ice at least at
They're
this
on
point.
the ice, but I'll tell you one, the thing with Milo, their oldest, he wants the biggest cowboy buckle. I mean, he wears belt. His dream is to be a cowboy. And it's
I
so funny
love that.
because Sarah and her mom are artists, so the kids are really amazing artists. So I'm
Oh
going to share
wow.
this with the kids and show that
Yes.
video of your daughter and how she did the cowboys because you don't have
Oh,
to
I
be a
love it.
cowboy. You can still be a cowgirl or cowboy artist, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Oh, and we'll have to have them out. I mean, they're gonna have to just, come out and take a ride if they really want to be cowboys and cowgirls.
Absolutely. And then you and Bobby can talk Calgary because he played
They're
hockey up there.
absolutely.
And it'll be
Oh,
a fun family reunion.
that is too cute. Oh my goodness, absolutely. How fun. Oh my
Well,
goodness.
listen, we love the rodeo. I know you guys are going to have a great time. She is going to do so well at the Blake Shelton concert. It's going to be the best.
Oh, I'm
Everyone
so
wants to win
excited.
tickets to that. So we're so glad that you managed to get through and win your tickets. Your family is you're just a delight.
Oh, thank you, Dana. We really appreciate it. And we're very excited. Can't wait to go down and check out all the art. I mean, it's
It
amazing
is amazing.
how phenomenal some of these artists are, especially at the high school level. Like the kids that
Oh,
win the gold medal. It's phenomenal. Oh my
beautiful.
goodness. It's
Well, she's got a
absolutely
lot of
beautiful.
people to look forward to, including dad, to emulate, and who knows what her future is going to be. Whether she's a little cowgirl or whether she's a
Mhm.
cowgirl or both, she can do both,
Both. Yep,
right?
absolutely. I think she's gonna do both for sure.
Well, you're a great mom, and
Absolutely.
it's great to see you again. You look beautiful, and you look like Texas
Thank
is doing
you.
you well.
Oh, thank you. We really appreciate it. And you as well. I don't think you've aged at all since I last saw you.
Thank you. You're a sweetheart. We'll get all your information. So if people want to come out and ride a horse and spend a night
Yes.
out in the beautiful
Yay.
country out under the stars. And by the way, I
Oh,
just want to say your idea that you mentioned on the radio for a romantic Valentine's, going on a horse, some
right.
marshmallows, and red wine under the stars.
Oh, it's funny. A friend of mine heard me on the radio as she was driving to work and she recorded and she's like, I'm coming with you guys for Valentine's Day.
We all want to come, right?
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
thank
I
you for
know.
sharing your life with us, and thanks for your time. And we're glad you're a sunny listener.
Thank you. We love your radio station. We listen to it every morning.